It is live and local now. It's Friday, August 21st. Great to have you with us. Great to be a part of your day here on Live and Local Now. My name is Kevin Wall. Great to have you with us. In the open, up and our thanks to Rick Santorum, Senator Rick Santorum, who's running for president. I didn't even know he was still in the race, to be honest with you, but be that as it may. But he said some really interesting things, and the little audio clip about getting involved. It's so vitally important. I promised you, on the day after the 78th Nevada legislature closed its doors, that I would make sure this program was at the forefront of holding their feet to the fire, those that voted for the largest tax increase in the history of our state. And so it is. And joining us now, a friend, a small business owner here in Las Vegas, Jim Marchant. He owns Desert Ice. And he's with us. Good morning, sir. Good to have you with us.
Hi, Kevin. How are you?
I am doing great. I understand you have something important to say, and I won't stand in your way. I'll let you get to it.
Well, I would like to take this opportunity, and thank you very much for giving it to me, to announce my candidacy for the Nevada State Assembly, District 37. So I'm going to run against whoever gets in that race. Probably Trowbridge will stay in there, who is the incumbent. And I look forward to bringing some common sense to Carson City.
Now, Glenn Trowbridge, if I'm not mistaken, he voted for the largest tax increase in the history of our state, but that's not all. I mean, he voted for other tax increases, too, did he not?
That is correct. Not only did he vote for the worst tax in Nevada's history, he voted for 26 other tax increases out of 32. So
wow.
And that's one of the reasons I'm going up there, or trying to go up there, is to maybe educate some of the people that don't understand how small businesses affect the economy. And when they pass insane laws that affect small businesses, the whole economy is going to go down. And that's going to be my goal, is to go up there and maybe convince some people that are trying to pass laws that are that try to hurt small businesses, try to help them understand exactly why it hurts them. So,
well, as a small business owner myself, and I got this blue letter, and you can see who it's from. It's from the Director of Taxation, State of Nevada.
We all got it. I got a few of them.
You got it. You got more than one. I got one. Notice of Nevada state law tax changes. You are a business that realizes, if you are a business that realizes Nevada revenue, you may be subject to the commerce tax enacted by the Nevada legislature and Glenn Trowbridge. That's not what it really says. But, in Senate Bill number 483. Let me just ask you, a lot of these legislators have come back to district, Paul Anderson and others, and Irv Nelson, and have tried to explain away their vote. Is there any rational explanation that you can accept from these people when they go out and they campaign on a platform of lower taxes, smaller, leaner, more efficient government, and then they go and they vote for the opposite?
I can't accept it, and honestly, I don't know why they voted for it. They're supposedly Republicans and supposed to be in favor of lower taxes or not increasing taxes, but I can't imagine why they would do that. I mean, my principles, I'm a Ronald Reagan conservative, and I have studied him thoroughly, and Milton Friedman, one of his economic advisors and probably one of the greatest economists the nation's ever had. And I'm like them. I'm a free market conservative. And so when I see politicians making decisions and passing laws like that hurt the economy, I don't understand why. And I don't know whether it's they don't have the life experience of being a businessman, or I don't know what. So most of the politicians are either lawyers or social workers or community organizers, and they've never signed the front side of a check. And so they don't have the experience that I think I can bring to Carson City. And I think that if I can explain to them in detail, okay, how does this affect the business? I've been through zoning and planning right here in Clark County. I've had to get a building permit. I've had to go back and get revisions to building permits because of ridiculous stuff and regulations. And so that's what I want to bring to Carson City. And I think if I can explain to some of the politicians up there, this is how it works. They don't know how it works. So if I can explain it to them, maybe they'll realize that what they're doing is killing the economy.
I'm trying to play devil's advocate on behalf of Glenn Trowbridge. Does it matter? Does it matter if it's for the kids, if it's for education, if it's for Zoom schools and Victory schools and even ESAs, which turn out, the Education Savings Account, which I think turned out to be pretty good for schools across the state of Nevada. Does it matter that it's for the kids?
Well, of course it does, but the problem is the money's not reaching the kids. And why is that? I don't really know at this point. I've got to wade into that mess up there to see why. I know from my life experience, one of my businesses in the past, I was a software company, and I wrote software for businesses. And one of my customers was a tile and flooring distributor. And this lady was telling me a story one day that the school board came to her and said, okay, we need tile and flooring for our administrative building. And, of course, they picked out the most expensive marble and that kind of stuff for the administrative building. And but that's not the worst part. The worst part is a year later, they came back to her and said, okay, we need to do that again in the same building, take up the perfectly good flooring that they had already put down, and replace it with brand new flooring. And my customer was flabbergasted. There's nothing wrong with that flooring. Why are you doing this? Well, we have to spend the money or we don't get our budget increase. And that was for the administrative buildings. That didn't even go down to the classroom or the teachers. So that's the kind of thing we've got to fix. And I think, going to a zero-based budgeting would be excellent instead of this baseline stuff that they do now where they have to spend the money in order to get their budget increase. I think that's ridiculous.
I want to take you into the world of politics, but we'll do that coming up in just a minute. You want to join in? You want to be a part of our show? Jim Marchant, he is running in Assembly District 37 against Glenn Trowbridge. There will be a primary for Glenn Trowbridge, who voted for a bunch of tax increases, including the largest tax increase in the history of our state. You want to join in? You want to be a part of the show? 1-844-2-NEVADA. It's 844-263-8232. Is it time to hold accountable these members of our legislature who voted for the largest tax increase in the history of our state? I want to find out from you. Is this a movement? I was in Reno and Gardnerville over the weekend, this past weekend, and I talked to a lot of people there that are absolutely fit to be tied. They are angry with a capital A. Do you share that anger? And are you ready for primaries with some of these incumbents that maybe you voted for Glenn Trowbridge? Is it time to throw the bums out? We'll get to that and more coming up. I'm Kevin Wall, the program, live and local, now. It is live and local now. Area activist Jim Marchant joining us. He's a small businessman, owns Desert Ice. And just for the record, I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but what is it Desert Ice does?
Basically, we have vending machines throughout the city here that allow people to walk up to it and put in $2, get 20 pounds of ice, or they can bring their bottles and fill them up with reverse osmosis water. That's basically it.
You're amazing.
Unmanned, and it just sits there waiting for people to use it. That's
great. That's great. And you are running. In fact, he just announced on this radio program, he is running in District 37 for the seat currently held by Glenn Trowbridge. Glenn Trowbridge, also a Republican, voted for the largest tax increase in the history of our state, and he is now getting primaried. And although a lot of people don't know who Jim Marchant is, other than he's a small business guy and he's an activist and all of that, is that this is not your first rodeo dealing with issues. When you lived in Florida, I know you were instrumental in killing the so-called internet tax. Explain what it was they were trying to do and how you helped them.
In 1994, when the internet was just beginning, because of the Netscape browser, if you remember that, it was allowing the general people to be able to access and use the internet. And so I kind of saw that coming. So I opened up and formed one of the first internet service provider companies in Florida. And as a result of that, the Florida Department of Revenue wanted me to collect sales tax on the internet access that I was charging my customers. And I had, 10,000 or so customers, and they were paying me $20 a month a piece. And the Florida Department of Revenue wanted me to charge and collect sales tax on that $20, and I didn't agree with them. So at the time I was on the board of directors of the Florida Chamber of Commerce, and I went to some of the legal guys there and I said, okay, here's my issue. What can I do about it? They told me that I could file what's known as a technical assistance advisory and force the Department of Revenue to rule on it. And so by doing that, first of all, they didn't understand what the internet was at the time, because they asked me, what's the internet? And I said, well, how can you charge tax if you don't even know what it is? So anyway, they basically said, okay, you win. We're going to let the legislature decide what we're going to do about internet tax. So at that point, I began lobbying the legislature and actually got a Democratic governor in Florida to sign an executive order stopping the sales tax initially that would give us time to then lobby the legislature to pass laws that would not allow the internet tax. So then on top of that, I formed an association called Federation of Internet Service Providers to do this nationwide. So as a result of me challenging the Florida Department of Revenue, we stopped the internet tax, and we also stopped online sales outside of state lines. In other words, if you purchase something online, you don't pay sales tax on that. We did that too. And as a result of that, most of the other states, if not all of them, adopted our laws and basically stopped the internet tax all over the nation.
You obviously accomplished a lot in Florida, but it begs the most important question. Did you ever get to meet Jeb Bush?
Absolutely. I worked very, very closely with him. He was governor of Florida during the time I was doing all of this, and I actually became very close with him and was kind of a de facto technology advisor to him. And many times I would visit him in his office and at the governor's mansion and lunch and stuff like that. So yeah, I got to know him pretty good. And
have you seen him? Have you seen him when he's in state now running
yes.
for president?
Yes, I have.
Same guy?
He's the same guy that I knew, but when he was in Florida, he was very conservative. He never raised taxes. He always lowered taxes. He cut spending. He did wonders for Florida, and I was there. I experienced it. So some of the things he's coming out with now, I question a little bit, but I do like Governor Bush. He is a really good guy.
Tell you what, let's do. Let's go to Warren in Las Vegas. Warren, you're up and you're on with Jim Marchant. I'm Kevin Wall. Good morning.
Good morning. I guess what my question would be, I've heard you mention that you're hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay, that you're a businessman, and I was just curious, as far as in the last legislature, there was a bill that never did make it to the floor to basically protect citizens of the state of Nevada as far as employment. I just wanted to know what your feelings were on that, as far as in building trades, in the hospitality industry. There seems to be a large population of people that are not necessarily have the documentation, nor do those businesses really care if that's who they hire. They just want it done for the cheapest price.
And you're talking about illegals, right?
Well, of course.
Okay. No, Warren, good question. That's Warren with a good question.
Well, a lot of bills this past session didn't get passed because of politics, and that's another problem. You had not only Republicans and Democrats going at each other, but you had Republicans going against Republicans. So some of the bills that were crucial for my side, which I say the conservative side, they were held up by the ones that supposedly on our side. They were held up by them for political reasons, because maybe some of them didn't support this commerce tax. So some of the bills like you're talking about, and I'm not sure which one exactly you're referring to, but some of those did not get passed because of politics, and that's the things that we have to fix up there.
I tell you what, let's go to Gregory. Gregory, you're up and you're on live and local now. I'm Kevin Wall, Jim Marchant alongside. What's up? Go ahead, Gregory.
Yeah, the tax that they just passed had the majority of Las Vegas actually not wanting it done, and they just don't represent the people like they should be representing the people, because I'd say 70-80% didn't want that to pass.
That's exactly right. Almost 80% of the people in Nevada voted down the margins tax that was a ballot referendum, number 3, I believe, voted it down. 480,000 Nevadans, I believe, voted against that tax, and there were 48 legislators that voted for it. And so you're right. They're not listening to the will of the people, and that's something that we have to change. And that's exactly why I want to. Another reason I want to go up there and see if I can do something.
Again, Jim Marchant running. In fact, as of about 25 minutes ago on this radio program, he announced that he is running against Glenn Trowbridge and anybody else in a Republican primary for District 37, Assembly District 37. It should be noted, Glenn Trowbridge supported not only the largest tax increase in the history of our state, but 26 other tax increases. We're going to get to that. And more importantly, there's something big happening. The president is coming to Nevada for the, the Energy Summit, Harry Reid's Energy Summit. Well, there's going to be another Energy Summit that's going to be held. We'll talk about that. The Heartland Institute, NPRI, and a whole bunch of other folks getting together. We'll talk about that and more coming up. I'm Kevin Wall, the program, Live and Local Now. It's Live and Local Now. It's Kevin Wall. Jim Marchant joining us from Desert Ice. He is a candidate. He just announced about 30 minutes ago that he is running against Glenn Trowbridge and anybody else in the Republican primary in Assembly District 37. It should be noted that Glenn Trowbridge voted for the largest tax increase in the history of our state. And like many other incumbents, they are being primaried. And they will be well-funded, and they are going to be people of substance, and somebody that when they say on the campaign trail, I'm running on a platform of lower taxes, smaller, leaner, more efficient government, that they actually mean it. Jim, I know that you have signed on to the contract with Nevada, and I want you to just go through. You don't have to go through every item, but there are some items I know that are very special to you on this contract with Nevada that, and the dumb thing is they're not really complex issues. They're very simple. I mean, whoever created the contract with Nevada did it in order to make it very simple so that all of us, even folks like me that are not all that bright, that we can understand this. Talk a little bit about just a couple of the items that maybe impact you as a small businessman.
Right. Well, obviously, the first one is the Taxpayer Relief Act, and that is to counter this worst tax in Nevada history, an attempt to repeal it. That's what we want to do. We want to try to address the damage that's going to do to the businesses and the economy of Nevada. So that's number one. Common Core is another one that we want to address. The thing that bothers me about the Common Core is the data mining issue, among other things, but that one's really important. When the government tries to get kids to tell them personal aspects of their home life and things about their parents that kids would, they don't know any better. They would just tell them. But that type of data mining really scares me. So I think we have to do something about that, as well as some of the other issues with Common Core. Second Amendment stuff is very personal to me. I want to maintain what we have. I mean, shall not be infringed. What part of that doesn't anybody understand? I mean, we need to leave that alone, and the Constitution speaks for itself. Voter fraud, the Voter Integrity Act. That's another issue that I really like on here. I like all of them, but those are the ones that are pretty special to me.
I know that we always talk about personal stories, that it's always good when people can bring stories, real life stories, not just talking points, but real life stories of real people that are impacted by laws. Unintended consequences sometimes. Sometimes they're not unintended. Sometimes they are intended. But I want to ask you, you talk to business people all across the state of Nevada, and you've been talking to them since the end of the 78th Nevada legislature about this largest tax increase in the history of our state. And I guess my question to you is this going to force people to leave our state?
Absolutely. And it's already happening. And there are so many unintended consequences of a law like this massive tax increase. One of them is a friend of mine owns a company that is that acts as a registered agent for companies all over the world that used to want to take advantage of Nevada's good business laws. And if you know, or if you remember, Delaware and Nevada were probably two of the most famous states for companies to incorporate in because it was business friendly. Well, Nevada, not anymore, because this law, this commerce tax, no businesses want to come here with that now. And matter of fact, my friend that owns this company is now going to move elsewhere. Wyoming, I think he's doing some stuff in Puerto Rico, but that's the unintended consequences of a tax like this, and that hurts the economy. There's a bunch of people that work for him here, and they're out of jobs. They either have to travel with him or they're out of a job.
That's incredible, absolutely incredible. Again, Jim Marchant joining us. He is the small business owner of Desert Ice. He is an activist. He has been an activist for many, many years in different states, including Florida, and he is running in District 37 against Glenn Trowbridge. So Glenn Trowbridge voted for the largest tax increase in the history of our state and 26 other tax increases, and he is now getting a primary opponent, Jim Marchant, who is with us in studio. I know that the president's coming here next week for Harry Reid's Energy Summit, but there is an alternative Energy Summit. Am I right?
That is correct. It's kind of interesting how this came about. I was able to have dinner with Alan West a few weeks ago during the Freedom event that was here, and I was trying to get him back out here to speak to some of the clubs, and James Taylor, a senior fellow with Heartland Institute, was actually with us. And Heartland Institute is a conservative think tank out of Chicago, very similar to Cato Institute or the Heritage Foundation. And we were emailing back and forth, and James told me, he says, well, you know, Obama's going to be there on the 24th for Harry Reid's summit, this eco summit that they have. And, let's see if we can have an event to counter what they're going to be saying. And so that's kind of how it started, just in a simple email, going back and forth, and then we've developed it into this, what we're going to call Affordable Energy Summit 8.0. And we're going to try to make this an annual event as long as Harry and whoever is the climate change advocates come out here and do this. We're going to try to counter them. So we're going to have a press conference Monday starting at 9 o'clock at the Foundation Room on top of Mandalay Bay. And we're going to try to tell people, counter the aspects that Harry and Obama are talking about, climate change and energy, and kind of give people a counter side of it. So that's what we'll be doing Monday.
I tell you, that's exciting. That's and I must tell you, with everything that has gone on relative to solar and the Public Utilities Commission and NV Energy and others, it is critical. I really believe, and maybe you share this, that we are at a critical juncture when it comes to these renewable fuels, and that we have to make a decision. Are we going to just subsidize them willy-nilly? Is it time they stood on their own 2 feet, although we subsidize oil? And oil seems to be doing quite well, I think, with or without subsidies. I guess my question is, where do you feel we are when it comes to renewables? And I'll give you a good example. NV Energy, there's solar companies all across Nevada that are putting solar panels up on roofs. But now the state is saying, and NV Energy is saying, they have reached their net metering limit, and they're going to reach it tomorrow. And that after that, sorry, no subsidies.
Right. Well, like I said earlier, I'm a free market guy. I think that we ought to let the free market rule everything, and including energy like this. So this is nothing more than crony capitalism, and all of these subsidies and the government doling out billions of dollars to these companies, and it's crony capitalism is what it is. And I don't think it's free market. I think that hurts the economy. So I'm not for it. There may be some aspects of it that may be good, but for the most part, I don't think I want to let the free market rule.
You want to join us? You want to be a part of the show? You can. 1-844-2 Nevada. That's 844-263-8232. We're talking with Jim Marchant. He is an area businessman. He is a Republican activist, and he is stepping up to the plate. In fact, he's going to be running in Assembly District 37. We just learned that. In fact, we just learned that about 40 minutes ago. To your phone calls we go. Babar in Las Vegas, you're up, and you're on with Jim Marchant. Go right ahead.
Yeah, good morning, Jim. I will be supporting you through your campaign. I like what you're saying. However, we have a bigger issue here at hand because of the new welfare recipients that are going to be moving and are moving into our great state of Nevada. This has to do with the President executive order of over 6 million Islamic Muslims coming to our state, which will add up to be about $573 million in costs for welfare, plus its management fees of hiring more individuals with the state who will be doling out the said funds to the 232,000 Muslims coming to this community. Now, I think the only way that you could defer these said new taxes is to have some sort of a way to push these new aliens coming into this country, and you need to start a bill that would be the only way to relieve the taxpayers legally in supporting the 232,000 Muslim immigrants coming into Nevada.
Hey, Bob, I tell you what, we're running short on time, so I want to make sure I get Jim in. Jim, what about that?
Yeah, first of all, we have to secure our borders, and that starts with the federal government first, of course.
But
then,
Jim, these are people
a lot of people don't understand that it does affect the state level too.
6 million
and who
of
do you
them.
think's going to pay for all these people? You're right, exactly right. It's the taxpayers of Nevada that's going to pay for that. And you're right. We need to do something about that. We need to be aware of it and understand exactly the impacts of it and deal with it.
Horst in Summerlin, you're up and you're on Live and Local now. I'm Kevin Wall. That's Jim Marchant. Go right ahead.
First of all, can you describe the approximate boundaries of Assembly District 37? And then is Jim's planned summit going to address the PUC and Nevada Energy's efforts to squash the solar industry for the rooftop?
Good, two good questions.
Yeah, absolutely. It is going to address that. James Taylor with the Heartland Institute is a energy expert, and he's on the right side, the way I look at it, and which is the conservative side. And yes, he's going to address that. So I would encourage everybody to participate and try to listen to the press conference and be there. And as far as the boundaries for District 37, it's Summerlin Parkway west to 215, kind of goes down to Cheyenne, and then a little east to, I think, Fort Apache, goes north, and it kind of jogs around a little bit to Lone Mountain. It goes then east to 95, just the other side of east side of 95, back to around Durango and Town Center, Summerlin Parkway area. So that's the general district.
I want to take you in our final couple of minutes into education. It's something that's near and dear to my heart. I know it is to yours. We now found out that the Clark County School District is way short. In fact, they're going to have 900 vacancies in classrooms beginning Monday. And they knew when the start of school was. And what is maybe more troubling, 900 full-time classroom positions are still empty going into next week. But more importantly, 1,600 teachers have essentially, they've quit. A third of that number has retired, but the rest of them just say, I'm done. I'm getting out of here. What does the legislature need to do? We did this largest tax increase, and it's going to the kids and all of that, blah, 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 blah. But the fact is you've got a school district that is dysfunctional in this state, and it's the Clark County School District. Washoe County, much better job. They seem to get the job done better than anybody. But the Clark County School District, it's just a mess.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things that we have to address. I think I touched on it a little earlier. Why is the money not going down to the teachers where it needs to be? And my story about the flooring and the administrative buildings, it's stopping there, which is ridiculous. I mean, just the money that $250,000 they spent on this flooring, year after year, just to meet their budget, that could buy a lot of pencils and paper and
a lot of teachers. Yeah.
And so that's something that we definitely need to address. And I don't know why it's not going down there. I had a very influential person tell me that they do it on purpose because they want the teachers screaming, because that's how they can raise taxes in the future.
Unbelievable.
We have to stop that.
Unbelievable. Jim Marchant, thanks so much. If folks want to know more about your campaign, what you're up to, where can they go?
They can go to jimmarchant.com and look at my website, and it's got, they can contact me through there. I've got phone numbers on there and email. So jimmarchant.com. I'd love to have support from everybody out there that is kind of tired of politics as usual, and because I'm going to try to do something a little different up there. There are only 23% of the current legislators up there are business people. That's it. So, if we don't elect more business type people up there, we're going to get the same thing that we've got now.
Jim Marchant, thanks so much for coming by. Appreciate you sharing your announcement with our audience. Greatly appreciated, and best of luck in your run in Assembly District 37. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Kevin. I really appreciate it.
Jim Marchant joining us, area business guy, owns Desert Ice. Yeah, the people that have the machines where you put a couple of bucks in and you get 20 pounds of ice. Not bad. And on a day like this, I can use all the ice I can get. Stick around. More to do as we continue. Another edition of Nevada Voices, straight ahead, live and local, now.